the bank, my daughter tried to make me sign everything, but the cashier read the note. I'm Auntie Jasmine, a 52-year-old black woman who's seen enough in life to smell betrayal from a mile away. And when my own daughter tried to steal my life savings at the bank, I made sure that cashier saw my note. By the end of that afternoon, my daughter was in handcuffs, my money was protected, and I learned the hardest lesson a mother can learn: blood doesn't always mean loyalty. Let me tell you something. When they dragged my baby girl out of that bank in front of everybody, part of me wanted to scream, wanted to take it all back. But the other part, the part that had worked 3 jobs to raise her, the part that had trusted her with everything, that part knew justice had to be served. I'm sitting here now at my kitchen table, the same one where I used to help her with homework, where we'd sit and talk about her dreams. My hands are wrapped around a cup of coffee that's gone cold. The morning light is streaming through the window, hitting that old clock on the wall, tick, 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 each second a reminder of how much time I wasted being blind. Had I been such a fool? 52 years I've walked this earth, raised 2 children on my own after their father passed, built a life, a home, a future. And my own daughter, my first baby, the one I held in my arms and promised to protect, she tried to rob me blind. My hands are trembling even now, weeks later. My throat gets tight when I think about it. The room spins sometimes when I remember her face that day, the panic in her eyes when she realized I knew, when she realized I'd outsmarted her. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, when everything was still beautiful, when I still believed my daughter loved me more than she loved money. I remember the day Keisha was born like it was yesterday. February 14th, 1993. Valentine's Day baby. The nurses said she was perfect, and she was 10 tiny fingers, 10 tiny toes, those big brown eyes looking up at me like I was her whole world. And I was. For a while I was. Her father, Marcus, he was so proud. "That's my princess," he'd say, holding her up high, making her giggle. We were happy then, the 3 of us in our little apartment in South Side. We didn't have much, but we had love. We had each other. Marcus worked at the plant, and I cleaned houses during the day, took classes at night. We were building something, planning for the future. We wanted Keisha to have everything we didn't: good schools, opportunities, a chance at something better. Then Marcus got sick. Cancer. It took him fast, 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. Keisha was only 7 years old. I remember her in that black dress I'd bought from the thrift store, tears streaming down her face, asking me when Daddy was coming home. "He's already home, baby," I told her. "He's in heaven now, watching over us." After Marcus died, it was just me and Keisha against the world. I worked harder than ever. 3 jobs, cleaning houses in the morning, receptionist at a law firm in the afternoon, waiting tables at night. I barely slept. But every dollar I made went toward our future. Went toward Keisha's future. I put her through private school, made sure she had nice clothes, took her on little trips when I could. She was smart, my baby. Dean's List every semester. Got accepted to Northwestern on a partial scholarship. I was so proud I cried for 3 days straight. "You did it, baby," I told her at her high school graduation. "You're going to be somebody." She hugged me tight that day. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mama. I love you so much." I believed her. God help me, I believed every word. When Keisha graduated from Northwestern with a degree in business, I threw her a party. Invited everyone, the church ladies who'd helped raise her, the neighbors who'd watched her grow up, her friends from school. Mrs. Patterson from next door brought her famous potato salad. Deacon Williams said a prayer. It was beautiful. "To my daughter," I'd said, raising my glass of sparkling cider. "The first person in our family to get a college degree." Her daddy would be so proud. Keisha smiled at me from across the room, her eyes shining. "I want to make you proud too, Mama. I want to take care of you the way you took care of me." That's when things started to change, though I didn't see it then. Keisha got a good job at a financial firm downtown, started making real money, bought herself a nice car, moved into a fancy apartment in Lincoln Park. She'd come visit me on Sundays, but less and less as time went on. "I'm so busy, Mama," she'd say. "You understand, right?" I understood, or I thought I did. She was building her career, her life. That's what I'd raised her to do, wasn't it? Meanwhile, I was getting older. My back hurt from all those years of cleaning. My feet ached from standing. I was tired, bone-deep tired. But I'd saved money, every spare dollar Marcus and I had put away, every tip I'd earned, every bonus check. I'd built something, a nest egg, security, a house I'd finally paid off. I had nearly $300,000 saved up. Between savings, investments, and the house, I had real wealth, enough to retire comfortably, enough to leave something for my children, Keisha and her younger brother, Jerome, who was studying to be an engineer. Keisha knew about the money. Of course she did. I'd told her about it, proud of what I'd accomplished, proud that I could leave them something. "You're amazing, Mama," she'd said. "But you need to protect this. Let me help you. I work in finance. I know how to make sure this money is safe, how to make it grow." It made sense. She was the expert. She was my daughter. Why wouldn't I trust her? That's when the papers started. The documents she needed me to sign, she said, to protect my assets, to minimize taxes, to maximize growth. I didn't understand half of what she was talking about, but she was my baby. She had that fancy degree. She worked with money for a living, so I signed. Powers of attorney, investment transfers, beneficiary changes. She'd bring them by, put them in front of me at my kitchen table, show me where to sign. "Don't worry about reading all of it, Mama," she'd say. "It's just legal jargon. I've already reviewed everything." I trusted her. God, I trusted her so much. How did we get here? How did my Valentine's baby, my princess, my pride and joy, how did she become someone who'd look me in the eye and steal from me? Now it all felt like a lie. Every "I love you," every hug, every promise. Was any of it real? Or was I just a paycheck to her? Just an investment to liquidate? The first sign that something was wrong came on a Tuesday morning in March. I'd gone to the ATM to withdraw some cash, and the machine said insufficient funds. I stared at the screen, confused. I'd just deposited my Social Security check last week. Even accounting for bills, there should have been at least $2,000 in my checking account. I went inside the bank, waited in line, tried to stay calm. When I got to the teller, a young Hispanic woman named Maria who'd helped me before, I explained the situation. "Let me check your account, Mrs. Johnson," she said, typing on her computer. Her face changed as she looked at the screen. "Oh, it looks like there was a large transfer last week. $25,000 moved from your savings to checking, and then it looks like several withdrawals over the past few days." My blood ran cold. "What? I didn't authorize any transfers. I didn't make any withdrawals." Maria looked uncomfortable. "According to our records, these were done electronically. Do you have online banking set up?" "No, I don't even have a computer." "Is there anyone else on your account? Anyone with access?" And that's when it hit me. Keisha. I'd signed papers making her joint owner on my accounts. She'd said it was just in case something happens to you, Mama. "So I can help pay your bills if you get sick." "My daughter," I whispered. "My daughter has access." I rushed home, my heart pounding. I tore through my filing cabinet looking for my bank statements, but they weren't there. I always kept them filed away, organized by month. But the last 6 months were missing. I called the bank back, asked them to mail me statements for the past year. They arrived 3 days later, and what I saw made me want to vomit. Transfers. Withdrawals. Thousands of dollars moving out of my accounts over the past 8 months. $5,000 here, $10,000 there, sometimes weekly. My savings account, which had held $200,000, now had less than $50,000, $150,000. Gone. I tried calling Keisha, but it went straight to voicemail. I called again. And again. Finally, she texted back. "Busy at work. Can't talk now." Can't talk. She'd stolen $150,000 from me and she couldn't talk. The room started spinning. I had to sit down, put my head between my knees. This couldn't be happening. There must be an explanation, some mistake. My daughter wouldn't do this to me. But then I started thinking back, started seeing things I'd missed. The way Keisha had been dressing lately, designer clothes, expensive jewelry. That new BMW she'd bought 6 months ago. "Got a bonus," she'd said. The vacation to Dubai she'd posted about on Facebook. "Saved up for years," she'd claimed. It all started to make sense. The frequent requests to sign just one more paper. The way she'd discourage me from going to the bank. "I'll handle it, Mama. You've worked hard enough. Let me take care of the finances." I thought about the time last month when I'd mentioned wanting to gift Jerome some money for a down payment on a condo. Keisha had gotten strangely defensive. "You can't just give away your money, Mama. You need it for your retirement. Let me look at your finances first." Looking at my finances. That's what she'd been doing all right, looking at how much she could take before I noticed. There was another memory, sharper now. A conversation I'd overheard 3 months ago. I'd come home early from church. The service had been shorter than usual. Keisha was in my living room talking on her phone. She didn't hear me come in. "I'm working on it," she'd been saying. Yeah, she trusts me completely. By the end of the year, we should have everything. No, she won't notice. She barely checks her accounts. Listen, once I get full control, we can move forward with the plan. I'd backed out quietly, walked around the block, come in again making noise. By the time I entered, Keisha was off the phone, smiling at me sweetly. Hey, Mama, I brought you some lunch. We? Who was we? I looked through my phone, found old texts from Keisha. There weren't many, she preferred calling. But there was one from 2 months ago. Can't make Sunday dinner. Brad and I have plans. Brad, her boyfriend. I'd met him once, briefly. He worked at her firm. Something about him had rubbed me wrong, too smooth, too charming, the kind of man who could sell you your own shoes, but I'd pushed the feeling aside. Keisha loved him and I wanted her to be happy. Now I wondered, was Brad part of this? Was he the we she'd been talking to on the phone? I needed help. I needed someone I could trust. I called my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. She'd lived next door for 20 years, helped me raise Keisha. She was like family. Patricia, I said when she answered, my voice shaking. I need your help. Can you come over? She was at my door in 5 minutes. I showed her everything, the bank statements, the missing paperwork, the timeline of withdrawals. Mrs. Patterson looked at me with such sadness in her eyes. Oh, Jasmine, I'm so sorry, honey, but you need to do more than just cry about this. You need a lawyer, and maybe the police. She's my daughter, I said, tears streaming down my face. And you're her mother, the mother who sacrificed everything for her. She doesn't get a pass just because she's blood. Mrs. Patterson helped me find a lawyer, a sister from her church named Andrea Thompson, who specialized in elder financial abuse. Yes, that's what this was called, elder abuse. At 52, I was technically too young for that category, but the principle was the same. Andrea was in her 40s, sharp as a tack, and angry on my behalf within 5 minutes of hearing my story. This happens more than you'd think, she said, sitting across from me in her office. Adult children taking advantage of their parents' trust, but we can fight this. First thing we need to do is remove her access to your accounts immediately. We went to the bank that same day. I closed my old accounts, opened new ones, made sure Keisha's name was nowhere on them. The bank manager, a kind, older black man named Mr. Williams, looked troubled as he processed the paperwork. Mrs. Johnson, he said carefully, I have to ask, do you want to file a report with the police? What's been done here? It's theft, it's fraud. Did I? She was my daughter, my baby, but she'd stolen from me. She'd looked me in my face, hugged me, said she loved me, all while robbing me blind. Not yet, I said. Let me talk to her first. But talking to Keisha proved impossible. She wouldn't answer my calls, wouldn't respond to texts. When I drove to her apartment building, the doorman said she'd left instructions not to let me up. Her own mother, and she wouldn't even talk to me. That's when Andrea suggested we hire a private investigator. We need to know the full extent of this, she said. Where the money went, who else might be involved, how long she's been planning this. The investigator's name was Derek Chen, recommended by Andrea. He was ex-police, now working private cases. He met me at a small cafe in Bronzeville, away from my neighborhood. Mrs. Johnson, he said, shaking my hand. I'm sorry you're going through this. I need you to tell me everything from the beginning. I did, every detail I could remember. He took notes, asked questions, recorded our conversation with my permission. When I was done, I handed him an envelope containing copies of all the bank statements, all the papers Keisha had had me sign, phone records, everything. I'll find the truth, Mrs. Johnson, Derek said. It might take a few weeks, but I'll find it. Thank you, I whispered. He found it in 2 weeks, and what he found was so much worse than I'd imagined. Derek called me to his office, had me sit down before he started talking. That should have been my first clue. Mrs. Johnson, Jasmine, I'm going to be straight with you because you deserve that. He slid a folder across the desk. Your daughter has been systematically stealing from you for the past year, but it's not just the money from your bank accounts. I opened the folder. Inside were photographs, documents, financial records. She took out a second mortgage on your house 6 months ago, forged your signature. She's been collecting the money, $75,000, and you're on the hook for the payments. The room tilted. What? There's more. She's been using your social security number and information to open credit cards in your name. You currently have $45,000 in credit card debt you didn't know about. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. And, Derek continued, his voice gentle but firm, she's been working with her boyfriend, Brad Williamson. He's been coaching her, helping her hide the money. They've been moving it through various accounts, trying to make it untraceable. They're planning to use it to start their own investment firm. My daughter, my baby girl, she hadn't just stolen from me, she'd tried to destroy me. There's one more thing, Derek said. He pulled out another document. 2 months ago, she had you sign a paper, do you remember? She said it was for tax purposes. I nodded. I remembered. She'd been rushing me, said she needed it signed by the end of the day for some deadline. That wasn't a tax document. That was a deed transfer. She was trying to get you to sign your house over to her. I stared at him. But I still have my house. Only because the notary she used refused to certify it. Something about it didn't sit right with him, so he didn't file it. But she tried, Jasmine, she tried to take your home. The tears came then, hot and angry. All those years, all that sacrifice, all that love. And this is what it got me, a daughter who'd bleed me dry and leave me homeless. What do I do? I asked. Derek looked at me seriously. You have options. You can sue her civilly to get your money back, but honestly, I think this is criminal. This is fraud, identity theft, forgery, elder abuse. You could press charges. She'd go to jail. Yes, probably. Could I do that? Could I send my own daughter to prison? I thought about the years I'd worked myself to the bone, the nights I'd gone hungry so she could eat, the dreams I'd deferred so she could have hers, the trust I'd given, freely and completely. And she'd weaponized it all against me. I need time to think, I said. That night I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table looking through old photo albums. Keisha as a baby, Keisha on her first day of school, Keisha graduating, Keisha hugging me, smiling, looking at me with what I'd thought was love. Had any of it been real? My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Johnson, this is Brad Williamson, Keisha's boyfriend. We need to talk. Keisha is very upset that you're spreading lies about her. She's considering a restraining order against you. I suggest you stop harassing her and accept that she has power of attorney over your affairs now. It's for your own good. I read the text 3 times. The audacity. The sheer audacity of this man, this stranger who'd helped my daughter rob me, now threatening me. Something shifted in me then. The grief crystallized into something harder, stronger. I'd spent my whole life being kind, being trusting, putting others first. And where had it gotten me? My daughter thought I was weak, thought I was stupid, thought I'd just accept being robbed blind. She was wrong. I called Andrea the next morning. I want to press charges, all of them. Are you sure? She asked. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Andrea connected me with a detective at the fraud division, a woman named Detective Sarah Martinez. She came to my house, listened to my story, reviewed Derek's evidence. This is a strong case, she said. We can definitely pursue this, but I have to warn you, once we start this process, there's no going back. Your daughter will be arrested. There will be a trial. This will be public. Good, I said. Let everyone see what she did. But we couldn't just arrest her yet. We needed more evidence, more documentation. And we needed to catch her in the act. That's when Andrea had an idea. She still thinks she has access to your accounts, right? She doesn't know you've closed them. Right. What if we set a trap? Give her one more chance to incriminate herself. The plan was simple but effective. We'd open one more account, a new one with a significant amount of money in it. We'd make it look like my life savings, everything I had left. Then we'd let Keisha know about it, see if she tried to access it. When she did, we'd have her on camera, on record, stealing in real time. But how do we let her know without being obvious? I asked. Andrea smiled. We tell someone who'll tell her, someone she trusts. We chose Brad. Derek had been following him, and Brad had a pattern. Every Thursday, he went to the same bar in the Loop after work. Always sat at the bar, always ordered the same drink. I went there on a Thursday, dressed nicely, sat a few stools away, acted like I didn't know who he was. After my second glass of wine, I started talking to the bartender, loud enough for Brad to hear. I can't believe my daughter, I said, putting on my best tipsy mother act. She's been so worried about me, says I can't manage my money, but I'm not stupid. I moved everything, all $180,000, to a new account at First National. She doesn't know about it yet. I saw Brad's ears perk up, saw him glance my way. She thinks I'm going senile or something, I continued. Just because I'm 52, can you believe it? I'm not that old, and I certainly don't need her controlling everything. I paid my tab, left, played my part perfectly. Derek confirmed it 2 days later. Brad had told Keisha, and Keisha had taken the bait. She called me for the first time in 6 weeks. Mama, it's me. I played my part. Keisha, baby, I've missed you so much. Where have you been? I'm so sorry, Mama. Work has been crazy, but I've been thinking about you. Listen, can we meet up? I want to make things right. Of course, baby, when? How about tomorrow, lunch? We made plans to meet at a restaurant in the South Loop. But what Keisha didn't know was that Andrea, Derek, and Detective Martinez would be there too, watching, waiting. Keisha showed up looking beautiful, designer dress, expensive bag, perfect makeup. She hugged me and I forced myself not to recoil. "Mama, I'm so sorry we haven't talked," she said as we sat down. "Things have been complicated." "I understand, baby. You're busy." We ordered food, made small talk. She was being so sweet, so attentive, the perfect daughter. If I hadn't known better, I would have believed it. Then after our entrees arrived, she got to the point. "Mama, I heard you opened a new bank account at First National." I played dumb. "How did you hear about that?" "Mrs. Patterson mentioned it." A lie. I hadn't told Mrs. Patterson anything. "Oh, well, yes, I wanted a fresh start, you know." After all that confusion with my old accounts. Confusion, Keisha's smile tightened. All those withdrawals I didn't make. Someone must have hacked my accounts or something. It was such a mess. Keisha's jaw clenched, but she kept smiling. "That's terrible. But Mama, you know how these things happen. You probably just forgot you made those withdrawals. You're getting older and I'm 52, Keisha, not 82. I know, but still, you need someone to help you. Someone to make sure you're not taken advantage of." "Taken advantage of," I repeated. "Like what's been happening?" She reached across the table, took my hand. Her touch made my skin crawl. "Mama, that's why I'm here. I want to help you. I want to make sure your money is safe. That new account at First National, you need to add me to it, just like before, for protection." "Protection from what?" "From people who might try to scam you. Mama, you're too trusting. You need me to watch out for you." The irony was almost funny. Almost. "I see," I said. "And how would we do that?" Keisha brightened, thinking she'd won. "It's easy. We can go to the bank right now. You just sign a few papers and I'll be added as joint owner. Then you don't have to worry about anything." "Right now?" "Why wait? First National is just 2 blocks from here. We can walk over, take care of it, then come back and finish lunch, my treat." She thought this would work. She actually thought I'd just hand over access to what she thought was my last $180,000. "Okay," I said. "Let's go." I saw her eyes light up. She'd won, she thought. She'd manipulated me one more time. We walked to First National Bank, Keisha chattering the whole way about how this was for the best, and how she'd take such good care of my money. I wondered if she could hear her own lies, if any part of her felt guilty. What Keisha didn't know was that Andrea was already at the bank, sitting in a corner, pretending to fill out forms. Derek was in a car across the street, camera ready, and Detective Martinez was in the bank manager's office, waiting. We walked up to a teller, a young black woman named Tasha, who was part of the plan. "Hi," Keisha said brightly. "We need to add me to my mother's account. She's Mrs. Jasmine Johnson." "Of course," Tasha said. "Mrs. Johnson, can I see your ID?" I handed it over. Tasha typed on her computer, pulled up the account we'd created as bait. "Okay, and you want to add?" She looked at Keisha. "Keisha Johnson, I'm her daughter. I'll need your ID as well." Keisha handed it over, smiling. She was relaxed now, confident. This was it. She was about to get access to $180,000. "And Mrs. Johnson," Tasha said to me, "you want to add your daughter as a joint owner with full access to the account." This was the moment. The moment where I'd normally just say yes, just sign whatever paper they put in front of me, just trust that my daughter had my best interests at heart. But not this time. "Actually," I said, "can I speak with the manager first? I want to make sure I understand what I'm signing." Keisha's smile faltered. "Mama, it's just like before. You don't need to. I want to talk to the manager." Keisha looked annoyed but couldn't argue without seeming suspicious. "Fine, but let's make this quick." "I have a meeting at 2. Tasha picked up the phone. "Let me get Mr. Henderson for you." A moment later, a middle-aged white man in a suit came out. "Mrs. Johnson, I'm Robert Henderson, the bank manager. Please come back to my office." "Both of us?" Keisha asked. "Just Mrs. Johnson for now. Bank policy, we like to speak to the primary account holder privately first." Keisha didn't like it, but she sat in the waiting area. I followed Mr. Henderson back to his office, where Detective Martinez was waiting. Now came the critical part. The part where I had to be smart, had to be careful, had to protect myself without tipping Keisha off too soon. Mr. Henderson sat behind his desk. Detective Martinez stood to the side. They were both looking at me, waiting. "Mrs. Johnson," Mr. Henderson said formally, for the recording that was running, "you're here today to add your daughter, Keisha Johnson, to your account as a joint owner." "Is that correct?" "That's what my daughter wants, yes." "And is this something you want to do?" I took a breath. This was it. No, I don't want to add her to my account. In fact, I need to report something." My daughter has been stealing from me for the past year. She's taken over $150,000 from my other accounts, forged my signature on a second mortgage, opened credit cards in my name, and attempted to steal my house. And right now, she's out there trying to manipulate me into giving her access to what she thinks is my last bit of money. Detective Martinez stepped forward, showing her badge. Mrs. Johnson, for the record, you're stating that your daughter, Keisha Marie Johnson, has been committing fraud and theft against you. Yes. And she's here today to attempt to gain unauthorized access to your funds. Yes. We have all of this on record, Detective Martinez said. Video, audio, everything. But to make the case absolutely airtight, we need you to go back out there with documents. Let her try to pressure you to sign. We need her to show intent to push you despite your hesitation. Can you do that? Could I? Could I walk back out there, face my daughter, and trap her completely? I thought about everything she'd taken from me. Not just the money, though God knows, $150,000 was a fortune to me, but the trust, the love. The dreams I'd had of growing old with my daughter by my side, of being a grandmother someday, of having family to rely on. She'd stolen all of that. She'd killed it with her greed. I can do it, I said. They gave me documents, real-looking papers that would mean nothing legally. The plan was simple. Go back out, pretend the manager had approved everything, have Keisha push me to sign. If she pressured me, manipulated me, tried to get me to sign over access to my accounts knowing I was hesitant, it would show intent and would strengthen the case against her. I walked back to the waiting area. Keisha jumped up. Finally, what took so long? Just bank stuff, I said. Paperwork. Did you tell him what we want? Yes, he gave me these to sign. I held up the papers, let my hands tremble a little. But Keisha, honey, I've been thinking maybe I should wait. Maybe I should know. Her voice was sharp. Then softer, I mean, Mama, no, you need to do this now, for your protection. But what if Mama? She took my arm, squeezed a little too tight. Stop overthinking this, you trust me, don't you? Did I? Did I trust the woman who'd stolen from me, lied to me, tried to take my home? I don't know, baby, maybe I should talk to Jerome first, or Jerome doesn't know anything about finance. I do. This is my job, Mama. Now sign the papers. It wasn't a request, it was a command. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman wearing designer clothes bought with my money. This woman who'd bled me dry and was here for more. This woman who was my daughter but felt like a stranger. What if I don't want to? I asked quietly. Her face changed. The sweet mask slipped. Excuse me. What if I don't want to sign? Then you're being stupid, she hissed, low enough that only I could hear. After everything I've done for you, all the time I've spent managing your money, managing, is that what you call it? She grabbed my wrist. Sign the papers now. I need to think, you don't need to think, you need to do what I tell you. I'm trying to help you, you senile old woman. There it was, the truth, finally, the contempt she'd been hiding under all that sweetness. Let go of me, I said. Not until you sign. Keisha, you're hurting me. Then sign. She grabbed the pen, tried to force it into my hand. We struggled. Papers fell to the floor. Other customers were staring now. Ma'am, Tasha the teller called out. Is everything okay? No, I said loudly. It's not, I need help, please, someone help me. That's when I did it. The thing I'd been practicing, the thing Andrea had suggested as a backup plan if things went sideways. I grabbed one of the papers, scribbled on it fast. And my daughter is trying to steal from me. Please help. Call police. I shoved it across the counter to Tasha, who read it and immediately understood. I'll get the manager, she said, pressing a button under the desk, the silent alarm. Keisha saw the note. Her face went white, then red. What did you just do? What I should have done months ago, I said. Mr. Henderson came out of his office with Detective Martinez right behind him, badge visible now. Keisha Johnson, Detective Martinez said. Keisha backed away. Who are you? Detective Sarah Martinez, Chicago PD Fraud Division. Keisha Johnson, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, forgery, and elder abuse. The bank went silent. Everyone was watching. Other customers, tellers, security guards, all eyes on my daughter. You don't understand, Keisha screamed, looking at me. Mama, tell them you wanted me to have access to your accounts. No, I said, my voice steady. I didn't, you took it, you stole from me. I'm your daughter. And I'm your mother, the mother you tried to rob blind, the mother you called senile, the mother whose trust you used as a weapon. Detective Martinez was reading Keisha her rights now. Another officer, one who'd been waiting outside, was putting handcuffs on her wrists. Mama, please, Keisha cried, all that anger turning to desperation. Don't do this, I'm your baby, remember, Your Valentine's baby. I did remember. I remembered holding her, loving her, giving her everything. I also remember you forging my signature, I said. Taking out a second mortgage on my house, stealing $150,000, trying to leave me homeless and broke. So no, Keisha, you're not my baby anymore, you're just a criminal. You're going to regret this, she screamed as they led her away. When you're old and alone, you'll regret this. I was the only one who cared about you. If this is what your care looks like, I said quietly, I'd rather be alone. They took her out of the bank in handcuffs past all those watching eyes. Someone was recording on their phone. By tomorrow, this would probably be all over social media. But I didn't care. Let everyone see. Let everyone know what happens when you try to steal from the people who love you. After Keisha was gone, I sat in Mr. Henderson's office for a long time, shaking. Andrea appeared. She'd been watching the whole thing from her corner and held my hand. You did it, she said. You were so brave. I didn't feel brave. I felt hollowed out, empty. What happens now? I asked. Detective Martinez sat down across from us. Now we build the case. We have her on video attempting to gain fraudulent access to your account. Combined with Derek's investigation and all the financial records, we have a strong case. The DA will likely charge her with multiple felonies. She's looking at serious prison time. How long? Could be anywhere from 5 to 20 years, depending on how the trial goes and if she takes a plea deal. 20 years. My daughter could be in prison for 20 years. And the money, I asked. Can I get it back? Some of it, yes, will freeze her accounts, seize assets, but I have to be honest, a lot of it has probably been spent. You might recover $80,000, maybe $100,000 if we're lucky. The rest, she shrugged. I'm sorry. I nodded. I'd expected as much. What about Brad? I asked. Her boyfriend, he was part of this. We picked him up 20 minutes ago. He'll face charges too. Small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. Over the next few days, the story exploded. The video someone had taken at the bank went viral. Daughter arrested for trying to steal from mother got millions of views. News stations picked it up. Reporters called my house. I didn't talk to any of them. I just wanted to be left alone. But the family couldn't leave it alone. Some of them supported me. Jerome, my son, flew home from college immediately. Mrs. Patterson and the other church ladies rallied around me, but others. My sister, Keisha's aunt, called me crying. Jasmine, how could you do this to that girl? She's your daughter. And I'm her mother, I said. The mother she stole from. But prison, Jasmine, you're going to destroy her life. She tried to destroy mine first. Some of my cousins stopped talking to me. Said I was being cruel, vindictive, that family should forgive family. But they hadn't been there. They hadn't seen the contempt in Keisha's eyes, hadn't heard her call me senile, hadn't lost $150,000 to someone they'd raised and loved. The preliminary hearing was 3 weeks later. I had to go, had to testify about what happened. Keisha was there in an orange jumpsuit, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. She wouldn't look at me. Her lawyer, a public defender, since all her money was frozen, tried to paint me as a confused old woman who'd consented to everything. But the evidence was overwhelming. The forged signatures, the secret credit cards, the attempted deed transfer, the video of her attacking me at the bank. The judge ordered her held without bail. Given the defendant's clear disregard for her mother's welfare and the severity of the charges, I consider her a flight risk. As they led Keisha away, she finally looked at me. Our eyes met across the courtroom. She was crying, mascara running down her face. For a second, just a second, I felt something crack inside me. She was still my baby, somewhere under all that greed and anger. She was still the little girl who'd held my hand and called me mama. But then I remembered her calling me senile, remembered her trying to take my home, remembered 20 years of sacrifice repaid with betrayal. I looked away first. The trial was set for 4 months later. In the meantime, life went on. I went to therapy. Andrea recommended it, said I needed to process the trauma of what happened. She was right. Talking to Dr. Williams, a kind, older black woman who reminded me of my own mother, helped me understand that what Keisha had done wasn't my fault. That trust isn't weakness. That loving someone doesn't make you responsible when they betray you. Jerome came home more often, took me to lunch, made sure I was okay. I can't believe Keisha did this, he said one day over coffee. I mean, I can believe it. She's always been selfish, but to you, to our mother. Did you know? I asked. About her being selfish. He looked uncomfortable. I mean, yeah, she was always the favorite, no offense, mom, and she knew it. She got whatever she wanted. But I figured when she grew up, when she got her own life, she'd change. She changed all right. Just not the way I hoped. The trial came in July. It lasted 2 weeks. The prosecution laid out everything, the timeline of thefts, the forged documents, the credit card fraud, the attempted home theft. They brought in Derek to testify about his investigation. They played the video from the bank. They called me to the stand. I had to sit there in front of a room full of strangers and describe how my daughter had stolen from me, how she'd manipulated me, how she'd called me senile and grabbed me when I resisted. Keisha's lawyer tried to cross-examine me, suggested I was mistaken about some things, confused about others. But I wasn't confused. I had documents. I had recordings. I had the truth. Brad testified too, trying to save himself by throwing Keisha under the bus. She said her mother was old and wouldn't notice, he claimed. She said it was her inheritance anyway, she was just taking it early. I didn't know she was forging anything, I swear. Liar. But the jury could sort that out. When it was Keisha's turn to testify, she tried to play victim, cried on the stand, said she'd only been trying to help me to protect me from myself, said I was getting older and making bad decisions, said everything was a misunderstanding. But the evidence didn't lie. The forged signatures didn't lie. The video of her attacking me at the bank didn't lie. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, the verdict was unanimous on all counts. Guilty. Keisha sobbed as they read the verdict. Her lawyer put a hand on her shoulder, but it didn't seem to comfort her. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. The judge looked at Keisha sternly. Ms. Johnson, you were in a position of trust. Your mother loved you, raised you, sacrificed for you, and you repaid that by systematically robbing her. This isn't just theft, it's betrayal of the worst kind. You showed no remorse, no recognition of the harm you caused. In fact, you tried to blame your victim. He sentenced her to 12 years in prison. Brad got 8, 12 years. My daughter would be 44 when she got out. I'd be 64. Would we have any relationship by then? Did I even want one? I didn't know. After the sentencing, I went home, sat at my kitchen table. The same table where this all started, where Keisha had first asked me to sign those papers. Mrs. Patterson came by with food, said I probably hadn't been eating, and she was right. We sat together in comfortable silence for a while. How do you feel? She finally asked. Empty, I admitted. Like I should feel something: relief, vindication, sadness, but I just feel empty. That's normal, honey. You lost your daughter twice, once to her greed, once to prison. It's okay to grieve that. I did grieve. For months. Even though Keisha had done terrible things, she was still my child. Some part of me would always love her, even if I couldn't trust her, couldn't have her in my life. But slowly, things got better. I recovered about $95,000 through the restitution process, not everything, but enough. Enough to rebuild my savings. Enough to feel secure again. I refinanced the second mortgage Keisha had taken out, got better terms, made a plan to pay it off. The credit cards were harder. I had to file disputes, prove identity theft, work with the banks. But eventually, most of that debt was cleared from my record. I started spending more time with Jerome, building a relationship with him that didn't involve sacrifice and martyrdom. Just spending time together, going to movies, having dinner, talking. You know, Mom, he said one day, you were always so busy taking care of us, I don't think you ever took care of yourself. He was right. I'd spent 52 years being someone's mother, someone's wife, someone's employee. But who was I, just as Jasmine? I decided to find out. Started taking classes at the community center painting, which I'd always wanted to try. Joined a book club at the library. Made new friends, women my age who were also figuring out who they were. Mrs. Patterson introduced me to a widower from her church, a nice man named Robert who owned a small restaurant. We went on a few dates. It didn't lead to anything serious, but it felt good to be seen as a woman, not just a victim or a mother. I started volunteering too, at an organization that helped elderly people avoid financial exploitation. Told my story edited for privacy, but the core truth was there. Helped other people recognize the signs, protect themselves. One woman, maybe 60 years old, came up to me after a seminar crying. My son, she said. He's been asking me to sign papers. Saying it's for my protection, but now I'm wondering. Trust your instincts, I told her, and get a second opinion from someone who isn't your son. She did. Turned out her son was trying to do exactly what Keisha had done to me. But because this woman caught it early, she stopped it before losing everything. That felt good. turning my pain into something useful, something that could help others. I also started keeping better records, understanding my finances more. Took a financial literacy class, learned about investments, retirement planning, estate management, things I should have known years ago but had always let others handle. Never again. I would never again be vulnerable like that. Never again would I sign something without reading it, without understanding it, without protecting myself first. Does that make me paranoid? Maybe. But it also makes me safe. Keisha tried to write to me from prison. The first letter came 6 months after her sentencing. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity got the better of me. "Dear Mama," it started. "I know you probably hate me. I hate myself. I don't know how I became this person. Prison has given me time to think about everything I did, everything I took from you. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean much, but I am. I was greedy and selfish and cruel. You deserved better. I hope someday you can forgive me. Love, Keisha." I read it 3 times. Tried to hear sincerity in the words. Maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't, I didn't know, I didn't write back. More letters came over the months, some apologizing, some asking for money for commissary, some begging me to visit. I didn't answer any of them. Maybe that makes me cold. But I'd given Keisha everything once and she'd thrown it back in my face. I didn't have anything left to give her. Jerome visited her once, came back shaken. "She's not doing well, Mom. Prison is hard." "I imagine stealing from your mother is hard too," I said. "Different kind of hard, but still." "Don't you feel anything?" he asked. "She's your daughter." "I feel lots of things," I told him. "But mostly I feel tired. Tired of being hurt. Tired of being used. I love your sister. I'll probably always love her on some level. But I don't have to let that love destroy me." He didn't fully understand, but he accepted it. Now, a year after everything happened, I'm sitting at my kitchen table again. The same table, the same coffee cup, the same morning light. But everything is different. I'm 53 years old now. I have $95,000 in the bank, money I know is safe because only I have access to it. I have a house with a mortgage I'm paying down. I have debt I'm managing. I have a son who loves me and a community that supports me. And I have peace. Real peace, for maybe the first time in my life. Looking back now, I realize that what Keisha did, as terrible as it was, freed me in a way. Freed me from the burden of loving someone more than they loved me. Freed me from the illusion that sacrifice equals love. Freed me from the need to be needed. Some say I was too harsh. Say I should have worked it out privately, should have given her another chance, should have shown mercy. But here's the thing about mercy, it has to be earned. And Keisha didn't earn it. She didn't show remorse until she got caught. She didn't apologize until she was facing consequences. And even then, I'm not convinced her regret is about hurting me. I think it's about getting caught, about losing her freedom. Would I do it again? Would I call the police, press charges, send my daughter to prison? Yes, every single time. Because what's the alternative? Let her steal from me. Let her take my home. End up broke and desperate in my old age because I was too soft-hearted to protect myself. No. I'd worked too hard, sacrificed too much, survived too long to let anyone, even my own daughter, destroy me. They say blood is thicker than water. But I learned the full quote. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The relationships you choose, the people who choose you back, are more important than the people you just happen to share DNA with. Jerome chose me. Mrs. Patterson chose me. My church family, my new friends, my support system, they all chose me. They all showed up when I needed them. Keisha chose money, and now she's living with that choice. As for me, I'm choosing myself. For the first time in my 53 years, I'm putting myself first, making decisions based on what I need, what I want, what makes me happy and safe. Is my life perfect? No, I still struggle sometimes. Still have moments where I miss my daughter, miss the relationship I thought we had. Still wonder if things could have been different if I'd done something else, been someone else. But mostly, I'm okay. Better than okay. I'm building a life that's mine, not defined by what I can give others or how much I can sacrifice. And if Keisha gets out of prison in 12 years and wants to rebuild our relationship, maybe I'll consider it, if she's truly changed. If she's done the work to understand why what she did was wrong. If she can prove she's not just sorry she got caught, but sorry she hurt me. But that's 12 years from now. A lot can happen in 12 years. I might not even want a relationship by then, and that's okay too. For now, I wake up every morning in my house that I own, that no one can take from me. I drink my coffee at my kitchen table. I look at the sunlight streaming through the window. I listen to the tick-tick-tick of that old clock. And I'm grateful. Grateful for the lesson, painful as it was. Grateful for the people who stood by me. Grateful for the strength I found when I needed it most. I'm Auntie Jasmine. They call me now the younger folks in the neighborhood, the people at church, the women in my book club. Auntie Jasmine, who survived her daughter's betrayal and came out stronger. And you know what? I earned that title. Earned it through every tear, every hard decision, every moment I chose justice over comfort. Some people might read this story and think I'm heartless, but I'm not. My heart is just finally beating for me. And after 53 years, it's about time. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, if someone you love is taking advantage of you, stealing from you, manipulating you, please hear me. You deserve better. You deserve protection. You deserve justice. And you're not a bad person for demanding it, even if the person hurting you is family. Especially if it's family. Because at the end of the day, the person you have to live with, the person whose face you see in the mirror every morning, is yourself. And you owe it to that person, to yourself, to protect them, fight for them, love them. I learned that lesson the hard way, but I learned it. And now I'm teaching it to anyone who will listen. Your family can't steal from you. Your children can't rob you blind. Your loved ones can't destroy you. Not anymore. Not if you don't let them. And I, Auntie Jasmine, will never let anyone do that to me again.